Computer. Hello, everyone. I am Jen Robinson, Editor-in-Chief of Peaceful Living Wellness online magazine, where we are dedicated to bringing more happiness and health to your life in really simple, easy-to-do ways. And today I am interviewing the wonderful Brittney Hiller from Effervescence Yoga Studio. And I just have to say, that when I first moved to this area of the United States that we call the Low Country, I came here from California and I was so out of my element. Brittney is one of the first people I met, and she just made my life so much better. This woman is full of joy and full of love, and she is becoming one of my best friends. And so it is really exciting for me to have her as part of the Peaceful Living Wellness community and to introduce her to you today. So Brittney, tell us about who you are, because you have such a unique story, and why your yoga spa and your online yoga company is called Effervescence.
Ooh, well, hi, Jen. It's so good to see you. And thank you so much for having me. I'm really, truly appreciative of this opportunity to be able to share all that I know with everybody in your amazing community. So Effervescence Yoga Spa actually came out to be because at the age of 15, I began yoga in school, in dance class. It was a warm up and cool down in our dance class. And it was amazing because it was done via a VHS tape with this spandex clad woman who was just gorgeous and led us through this really fun hatha style yoga class. And I knew that at the end, during Shavasana, our final relaxation pose, I always joke yoga is the only exercise you get a nap at the end. So understand that, that's why I do it. And so I knew that moment as a teenager, I want to do this. I want to teach this. I don't know how I'm going to. I'm 15 years old, but I know I want to do this. And so then from there, my journey began, and my yoga practice continued on. And it wasn't until I was in my late 20s that I actually began to get on the yoga studio schedule as a laughter yoga teacher. And so I first learned laughter yoga, then kids yoga, and then, as I joke, adult yoga, and started teaching. And so the effervescent word for the yoga studio comes from my personality. I have a bubbly personality. I'm able to express and exude in this joy that I just naturally have. And because I have this effervescence for life. And so I want people who come into our studio, whether it's physically or virtually, to have that same feeling of just this expressive, effervescent way of being.
Oh, I love that. And can you guys imagine what that was like for me, a fellow bubbly woman, to say, oh, somebody else who has bubbles and she embraces her bubbles? Because I tell you, when I was a professor, I got a little pushback on those bubbles. And so being in the wellness field and meeting wonderful people like Brittney, it just makes you feel like you're at home. So Brittney, you mentioned laughter yoga. And you weren't the first person that I had practiced laughter yoga with, but you were the first person who explained what it was. And you were the first person who I didn't think it was dumb. Sorry, I've told her this before, but I had done it and I was like, this is really dumb. When Brittney does laughter yoga, it is so awesome. So tell us a little bit about laughter yoga and how it's different from regular yoga.
Sure. Thanks, Jen. I'm glad that you had fun and it wasn't dumb. No, I totally
it wasn't dumb. It's not dumb at all.
Right?
And yet
I totally get that.
Off.
My husband explains that all the time, and he's always told me, make sure that you tell people this is weird, but then let them know they feel good afterwards. And so I'm like, okay, yeah, great. And I've used that in every single possibility that I have when I teach laughter yoga. Yeah. So what laughter yoga is the opportunity to utilize laughter in a joyful and playful experience. So as adults, we don't laugh as often as we used to as kids. Right. And we have this idea, this notion that we have to have something force us to laugh in order to laugh. Now, that's a fallacy, because when we live with that idea that we need something to force us to laugh, then we're not going to laugh naturally often, right? We're going to sit here and, in our crap, basically. And so what laughter yoga does, the monkey mind, right? So laughter yoga helps us to embody the practice of laughter. And laughter is so soothing for our body. It also releases dopamine and endorphins. It oxygenates the blood in the body. It helps feed our brain. There's just so many positive benefits of laughter that we are keeping from ourselves by not laughing daily. And so I help lead people through laughter exercises in a really playful manner, but that's also approachable. And I let them know throughout the process that, yeah, this is gonna be weird, but let's get weird together, because it's okay to get weird together. And it's like, this is a natural part of us. We start laughing at 3 months old, and we're not laughing at something because we're 3 months old. We don't get it.
Yeah,
but our body needs this, and our body knows that this is something that's beneficial. Mm-hmm.
And I love how well this fits in with what our mission is at Peaceful Living Wellness, that we're all about easy, simple things to bring into your life. And so you can go into Brittney's online yoga studio and watch a video from your couch and do laughter yoga. You don't even have to stand up. In fact, I'm going to tell one of Brittney's stories that she taught me. Laughter yoga was actually developed by a cardiologist for his patients who couldn't get out of bed. And it gave them all of the benefits of exercising, even though they couldn't leave their beds. So you can just jump on into the online yoga studio. How easy is that? And get your daily dose of laughter. Now, one of the things that's kind of different about than just sitting and watching a funny show on Netflix, which is good too, is that you're engaging your belly breath. You're engaging your breath more than you would if you were watching your favorite comedian on Comedy Central. So that's why it has an exercise component. And that's why I say, yeah, it's great to watch your favorite shows, but this is going to take you one step deeper, one step further.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's an energetic process. And you're right, utilizing that belly breath within the laughter. We also do it for a certain amount of time that, if you're giggling at a comedian, it might just be like, but when you're in laughter yoga, it's a
And when she's doing that, y'all, you laugh from your belly with her. I have been in conferences with 50 women in their business suits doing this with her. And in fact, some people are laughing so hard, I'm a little afraid they might pee their pants. But, it's all good.
It's a side effect. It's okay.
It's okay, especially if you're at home. So let's talk a little bit more about your backstory. I always ask our contributors with these interviews to tell us about why they got into this field, because every one of them is passionate about what they're doing, and your story is particularly unique.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I was actually born with a pulmonary atresia. And so what that was is, as a baby, my left ventricle was fused shut, and I had 12 hours to live. So basically what happened was, in that 12 hours, and this happens with most babies, if they don't get that open, then the blood flow to the heart won't occur. So I had immediate rushed surgery as a child, open heart surgery as a newborn. And from that experience, I learned as a kid that I wanted to be able to support my health and well-being in a way that was natural as much as I could, because forever, grateful, thankful, I have not had to take medication for my heart, not had to take medication for having this experience as a child. And so I personally believe that it is not only the physical aspect of remaining healthy by doing the yoga practice, trying to eat as healthy as I can, especially through this time, but also it's a mindset shift. And so utilizing mindset techniques and having this joyful nature within myself and choosing this joyful style of life, I then allow myself to live in a happier, healthier state in my body. I keep myself in a space of less stress as much as I can. Now, mind you, I'm human. I'm going to get stressed out. I get a little crazy, right?
Yeah, we all do. But again, that's part of the peaceful living wellness thing. And that's one of the reasons that you and I have connected so well, is that we all are in a place like, we're human, we're not perfect. Yeah, I'm a stress management coach, but the reason I can coach people on that is because I have been through some really freaking hard times, and I've had to learn how to manage my stress. It's because I live with anxiety, And I have to learn how to breathe through it so that I'm not an anxiety-ridden mess all day, every day.
Yes.
So we are all about being real at Peaceful Living Wellness. We are not about putting on the glamour facade.
Right.
And as as glamorous as Brittney actually is, she's extraordinarily beautiful, extraordinarily glamorous, as are many of our contributors. It all comes from this place from within. When I first met her, she talked about this story about the open heart surgery and how she has had to live in a way of having an open heart because that's how she healed.
Yeah.
And I love that story. Okay, now to the practical side of things. What gets you going in the morning?
Ooh, what gets me going in the morning? So not a cup of coffee.
Okay.
However, no, I love to wake up every morning with this idea of a mantra. And so for me, every single day that I wake up, I simply remind to ask myself, how may today unfold better than I could ever imagine? And then what that does is it allows for me to have this idea of being excited for the rest of my day, because I'm looking forward to how my day may unfold better than I could ever imagine. Instead of going into the rigmarole of have to do's and being, just worried, I allow myself to have some joy and excitement throughout my day.
How many of us hit the ground in the morning and we're like, okay, I got to get the kids ready for school. I got to get breakfast made. I got to do this. I got to do that. And we don't take even that 5 seconds to say, how is this day going to unfold in a way that is even better than I can imagine? I mean, 5 seconds. For me, I take a whole miracle morning routine. That's for a different blog. That's for a different interview. But yeah, I mean, just that mantra. And explain to people who aren't used to our yoga talk what a mantra is.
Sure. So a mantra is just basically a saying that you say to yourself repetitively. And so for myself, that's my repetitive question, because what it does is it opens myself up to possibility, like what else is possible here in my life, instead of creating the conclusion around I have to do X, Y, and Z. That's a conclusion. And then what that does is it creates for me a block in my life, instead of opening up the world to, ooh, but what about this? But what about this? Excitement.
That excitement of possibility. We lose that as adults, I think. We lose that excitement of, oh, what do I have to look forward to? And, even though I teach mindfulness, which is about being in the present moment, it's still, mindfulness is still a place of being open to possibility, because the teachings include to sit in a place of thinking about possibility and embracing that in that moment, without worry, without judgment, because that's the part of mindfulness that is so key. That if we're sitting in a place and stewing in our worry, that's not mindfulness. It's about not being in a place of judgment, of criticism, of worry, of those negative thought patterns. Whereas mantra, as you were saying, it opens up this possibility. And also, what is it about the repetition of a mantra? Like doing this every day, what does that do for us?
So for me, what I found is it makes it easier to use. It makes it easier to experience, actually. So for example, if I was to represent this and give it to somebody for the first time to ever try, they might go into the mindset of, oh, my day doesn't unfold better than I could ever imagine. How's that going to work? But the more that we do it, right, the more that we say it, the more it becomes real, the more it becomes our reality. And so for me, practicing it over and over every single morning, I start to actually begin to create the day ahead of time in my being of like the way that I feel. So it's like, okay, how may it unfold better than I could imagine? Well, then obviously I would need to have a really positive experience in my day for it to unfold better than I could ever imagine, or need to look at things, or I get the opportunity to look at things in a different mindset, as opposed to getting into that space of lack or the feelings of fear. So
yeah,
I feel that.
And I'm going to geek out for a minute and talk about neuroscience, and that what it does is it imprints that mindset, that openness into our neural pathways until it gets into our subconscious. And that, then we're not even thinking about it, we're just living it. And that's such a different place of living than living in worry, of living in shame, of living in vulnerability. And those places that we can live that are not full of joy and hope. and and peaceful living.
Yeah.
So that brings me to my my key question for everybody. What does peaceful living mean to you?
Ooh, peaceful living. So to me, peaceful living means having the commitment to live a life that which I desire. So for example, if I'm living a life that somebody else desires for me, I'm not going to be in a peaceful way of living. I'm going to be stressed out. I'm going to have a backpack of nerves on my shoulders. I'm going to feel like I have to do for someone else. And so for me, what happens is I get into this feeling of just like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So
Resistance,
yeah,
right?
resistance, absolutely. And so peaceful living to me is truly being able to live a life that which I desire, even if that's just 5 minutes out of my day. If I get to enjoy food that I love because I chose to eat that, or if I decide to take a yoga practice because I want to when I could be doing laundry. It's just that moment of being in a space that feels peaceful to me, that feels true to myself. That's for me, that's peaceful living.
And how do you do that? Or how would you suggest to our viewers of how to do that when they are feeling so pulled to live for so many other people, their bosses, their colleagues, maybe their kids, their spouses, their parents even?
Mm-hmm.
How do you find that space of living for you? Like you said, even if it's just 5 minutes, but for some people, they have this mind block that how are they even going to find that 5 minutes? What are the words you use to encourage them?
The words that I would use to encourage them
is
going to be, okay. It's like, it's more than just words. So for myself, being in that space already of putting everybody ahead of you, right? Putting everybody up above you, allows for you to feel less than. It allows for you to feel not good enough. It creates that mentality already where we're less than and we're lacking. So what I would recommend, obviously, I love meditation. And so some people, meditation may be completely new, and I completely get that. But if you were to take a minute to sit with your thoughts and sit with your thoughts in a way that is intentional. So you sit and you think to yourself, I love myself, even if it doesn't seem true. I love myself. And you can even say that whole thing. I love myself, even if it doesn't seem true. I love myself, even if it doesn't seem true. And that's the mantra, right? That repetitive.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's the mantra again. Yeah.
But it allows for us to, again, reprogram, getting it into our subconscious to where it does become real for us. Our reality is what we make it to be. So when we get into the space of like, I commit to myself today, even if it's just a minute to tell myself I love myself, I commit to me. And that for myself, I believe, because I see this in people often where they are feeling like they're pulled all over the place and they have no space for self. And it's like, imagine if you're doing that to yourself every day, because you are, right? In a sense, you're putting everybody before you. Then what's happening is you're not actually giving your full self to those people who need you all the time. So when you do create that space for yourself, even if it's just a minute, you're giving yourself more opportunity to be for others, which is so much more powerful.
Yeah, I talk to my clients all the time because most of my clients are moms, wives, and or in careers, business, and some of them are all of the above and taking care of elderly parents. There's no space for themselves. But we talk about how you have to create that space and put the oxygen mask on yourself first so that you can take care of those people. And that is why in airplanes, they tell people, put the oxygen mask on yourself first. And I have had people actually argue back with me and say, I don't care what they say, I'm putting the oxygen mask on my kid first. And I'm like, well, then your kid might be there with the oxygen and have to help resuscitate you because you have passed out. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh.
Yeah.
Right.
And that happens too in life, right? Because they get so stressed out, their kid is experiencing their stress. Yep. And then their kid is thinking that they're responsible to let go of their stress.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And the modeling that we can do for our kids starts with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I have found that my next question is possibly the hardest question for my our Peaceful Living Wellness contributors to answer, because I ask you guys, what is the number one thing you wish for people to know about wellness?
Ooh, you're right. What is the number one thing? Okay. So you're right. Look at you. And you set me up.
No, nobody can do it with one, because we're all so passionate about what we do. Well, we want them to know this and this and this and this.
Yes.
No, you got to narrow it down to the number one.
The number one, in my opinion, is self. So wellness of self. And for everybody, that's something different. So for me, wellness of self is happiness and joy and receiving that every day in my life. For other people, it may be how can they be the best being in their family? How can they eat right? How can they exercise more? How can they reduce stress? You know, there's so many different facets, but it's understanding truly yourself is, to me, the most important knowledge of wellness, because when we know ourselves, then we're able to do all the things that which are well for ourselves.
Yeah. And then when we're well, like we were just saying, we're well for everybody else too. So yeah, beautifully said. Okay, here's my favorite question. Do you have a guilty pleasure that is maybe not so wellness oriented?
Oh, yeah. My guilty pleasure is I love me some ice cream and sometimes dunking cookies into almond milk. But yeah, love sweets. I'm the sweet tooth girl all the way. So I gotta limit it, but I still love it.
Yeah. Well, and I was just interviewing Dawn McGee, who's one of our nutrition experts. And one of the reasons I invited her to be part of our team is because she is so practical about nutrition, and that she's like, yeah, of course, every good nutrition plan includes dessert sometimes, right? And just so you all know, Brittney and I, we might like lobster chicken nuggets too. Yeah, they're fried. It's fried lobster, and it is, oh my gosh, so good.
Yeah.
But it's an appetizer size. So it's just a little bit of fried lobster.
Right.
Whoever thought of frying lobster? Only here in the South would they do
that.
anything here. All right. Thank you, Brittney, so much for another enjoyable conversation. I'm sure that you guys are all like going, what is too? They know each other too well. But again, she has literally become one of my best friends. She has been such a godsend to me, an angel. Aww. And you, my dear, have all sorts of wonderful things that you offer to our Peaceful Living Wellness community. Tell us about your online yoga center, online wellness center. Yeah. Sorry.
It's all good.
Wellness center. Because there's more than just yoga in there. And tell us how people can find you.
Absolutely. So you can find me at effervescenceyogaspa.com. And what we offer is a physical space and a virtual yoga space. And the virtual space is, just like Jennifer said, a wealth of knowledge. We have so many videos of yoga, so many different styles, so many different teachers. We also offer you little blips of laughter yoga, or getting to know how to clear your chakras with yoga, and just so many different fun and exciting classes that I invite you to try out and to experience, so that you may live your best peaceful life.
And all for just one price. It's not even a pay-per-view. So you get, how many teachers do you have contributing now?
I believe 6 different teachers.
Including me?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm one too. And what I bring is not your daughter's yoga, right? Because I'm old. And so, Brittney, where can people find you? How can they find out more about Effervescence, about you?
Yeah, definitely. So again, feel free to visit the website, effervescenceyogaspa.com. We also host live virtual classes as well that are really booming right now. People really, truly enjoy them. It's on a Zoom platform. You pop in, you roll out of bed, and you come to yoga. And guess what? Your video is off, so people aren't going to see you unless you decide to be seen. I offer that pleasure because I know a lot of people go into Zoom and are like, why is my video on? So no, you come into the yoga space and you're not seen until you choose to be seen.
Very cool. And that's something a little different than some other places are offering. And I was trying to get her to tell you that you can also find her all over Facebook and Instagram. at Effervescence Yoga Spa.
Sorry,
But I'll just do that for her.
Always watching out.
She's actually, it's funny because she is on social media all the time, and everything she puts on there is so uplifting and funny and fun and inspirational that I really encourage you guys to follow at Effervescence Yoga Spa or at Outdoor Yogini. You can find all of her links on her bio on Peaceful Living Wellness.
Yes.
Okay,
That's the best place.
Yeah, I tried to lead her down that path.
I know. Thanks, Jen. Find me on Peaceful Living Wellness. That's the best place.
Yes. Yeah, and actually we have our experts page with everybody on there, and on each of their articles we have a byline that has all of their links. So thank you all for joining us for this really fun interview, and we will see you in Peaceful Living Wellness and on the Peaceful Living Wellness site. Bye for now.